It's so sad how Mariah Carey lost her voice. What do you mean Mariah Carey lost her voice? She sounds like an angel. Which one's right? Hi folks, I'm Voba. I'm a singer and a vocal trainer, and this is my channel about anatomical vocal training. Some people be like, ooh, Mariah Carey really lost her voice. So sad to see. Other people are like, huh? She can hit the highest notes like ever. What are you talking about? Here are my 2 little cents about it. The question is, what do these people mean, right? What do the people especially mean when they say she lost her voice? Because obviously she can speak, she sings, like, what are you talking about? So, a damaged voice, it's basically about the damaged voice. What can a healthy voice do that a damaged voice cannot do? That's actually the question that I'm having and that needs answering. Because a damaged voice is restricted in certain ways. A damaged voice often can only sound breathy, right? Either loud, then it's so loud that you don't hear the behind the voice anymore. Well, that's something actually that we used to love about Mariah Carey, that she could switch so much between open and breathy voice to very strong and closed vocal cords. You know, she had this variety. At least I love that about her. But a damaged voice, the problem is you can only do, for instance, that's one of the problems, right, with vocal damage, that you cannot really close your vocal cords anymore because of a variety of reasons that might, be different from every vocal disease and from every person that has damage on their vocal cords. But fact is, this is one sign that you always have behind your voice, that your voice might be damaged. Now, Mariah Carey specifically says that she has vocal nodules. Now, vocal nodules are very particular because mostly they come from things that you should not do and don't have to do with your voice, but that you do. And with Mariah Carey, I'm pretty sure it's the whistle notes. Because what whistle notes do is that they clip off parts of your vocal cords and they immobilize at a certain pressure point parts of your vocal cords, as explained in depth in this video. And then only the back part vibrates. That's why it sounds so small, so tiny, so bird-like rather than human-like, because it's not the full vocal cords vibrating. Now, what that does over time is it creates an imbalance, right? When you hold parts of your muscle, clipped off, and you try to work them out, after a few years, your muscle might have a problem. Maybe even after a few hours, depending on how extremely you do it. And so this pressure point often is something that when there's an imbalance, when there's more pressure somewhere, then the tissue tries to deal with the pressure. And so scar tissue forms and the tissue changes, and basically they're in the vocal cords. Often it is when people do this aliquote division, is what it's called, the whistle notes. Anatomically, it's called aliquote division. And when people do that over an extended period of time, then they get nodules. That's why you also see the nodules, as explained in this video, so often in the first third of the vocal cord, because that's where the first clipping off of the vocal cords is. And also, aliquote division is not just whistle notes. Falsetto is also aliquote division, and yes, men as well as women can do falsetto, as explained in this video. So what people mean when they say she lost her voice is she doesn't have the same flexibility. It doesn't mean she doesn't have a voice and she can talk. That's not what people are talking about. They say, oh, she has vocal damage, actually. And vocal damage, the sad thing about it is it's really restricting and it's unpleasant for the person themselves. Now, the good news is that you can repair much of the vocal damage, right? If you have nodules, it will take you months, at least 9 months, probably to repair, for the body to heal. You firstly have to heal, right? And then you have to relearn your entire vocal technique in order to be able to sing again and have an enormous flexibility. But most vocal problems that are caused by bad technique or vocal abuse can be repaired. Now, obviously not everything, and obviously it might not be as good as it was before. It might be better, but it's definitely going to be different. But it can be repaired. Now, a very important thing is not to be judgmental. You know, when somebody has a vocal problem, do not hate on them. You know, it's a sickness, it's a disease, and it often comes from abuse, from vocal abuse. So if, you know, don't blame and be mad about somebody that is sick already, that you know has had damage already done to their body by themselves or by others, you know, by the system often that forces people to sing 7 days a week, always, you know, tour and never have enough rest and do these Aliquote divisions because the fans love it, rather than, you know, learning how to open your voice and have a real broad, big voice as explained in this video, that you can sing until you die. That, you know, like a week before you die, you might have a problem, but you can always use it depending on how good you age, right? So it's often the social surrounding that pushes people into vocal disease. And that's why I'm also saying you have to have a really strong mindset to be a singer and to become a singer, as explained in this video. So yeah, don't blame, don't hate on people with vocal problems. Rather show them with love other ways and show them through example, because you can learn how to have a huge voice that you can have over 4 octaves with lots of flexibility. And you know, you can have all these perks that amazing singers have without vocal disease. And through you developing this, you can be an example to show people it's possible, and they don't have to keep on suffering. They don't have to keep on, you know, being sick and feeling shitty, because, you know, having nodules, edema, or any vocal disease is not fun. And if you can do something by changing the way you use your voice, you know, if it's not genetic or toxins that gave you these vocal diseases, then, or anything else, then, you know, it's going to be amazing for them to find these possibilities, you know, that they can heal, that they can be healthy. So let them know if you know anybody who's got vocal problems. This little playlist is really, really good for people who feel, you know, strange and I don't know what my voice, often I strain, and it's really good when they think they have vocal problems because of the way they use their voice. Check this playlist out. It's going to be really helpful for them. That's it for today. I hope that gave you a little nice inspiration. If you like the content, please subscribe to my channel and like the video, and I see you around. Now, wait a minute. Want to learn how to do these things that I talk about in my videos? YouTube is great, but a course with an actual methodology is the thing that will give you real results. I have a course called Vocal Foundation on my website. I created a free tour where you can learn the what, why, who, how, and the content, the benefits, the finances, prerequisites, everything about the course. So if you're eager to get your voice to the next level, follow the first link in the description and sign up for my Vocal Foundation free tour.